We showed three different feeding systems from the boat and a kayak, and we also actually showed how you can practice this in a pool. The first one, and I'll start off when the conditions are waviest, roughest, that would be using a feeding stick. And you want a feeding stick for a few reasons. It's stable, but also you can actually separate the swimmer from the boat. In wavy conditions, you definitely don't want the swimmer close to the boat, especially if it's late at night or there's poor visibility. And the second system was actually a water bottle tied to a rope. You just toss it over to the athlete. In this rope system, we actually have a part of a pool buoy, so you can actually keep the water bottle buoyant or on the surface of the water. And then third was simply handing the athlete the water bottle hand to hand. I would always recommend the athlete to feed as efficiently and quickly as possible, whether you're in the English Channel in cold water or someplace in the Caribbean with warm water. You just want to minimize your time. Typically, every athlete underestimates the amount of time they're stopping. If an athlete thinks they're stopping for 2 seconds, they're usually stopping for 6. They think they stop for 6, they're actually stopping for 20. They think they're stopping for a minute, they're usually stopping for 3. And we want to minimize that, whether it's a solo race or an English or a solo swim or a race. So for the English Channel, and again, depending on what the conditions are, I would actually recommend you take all 3 or all 4 different feeding systems. And then depending on the condition, you actually give them a system that's, if it's calm, you can do hand-to-hand or with a water bottle with a rope. Or if it's extremely rough, you don't want the swimmer to be close to the boat, so you use the feeding stick. So again, it's not necessarily either or. I would recommend every athlete be as prepared as possible, so when you have different conditions, as you inevitably will, you actually have the appropriate feeding stick for the appropriate condition. If you're a newcomer, I would literally feed every single workout. I would practice feeding every single workout, just like you practice your turns, just as you practice your stroke, your pull, your kick. I would practice feeding every single day, every single practice session. Even if that means you stay an extra 100 yards at the end of practice and you're there at lane 1 or lane 8 at the end of the pool, and you're actually just grabbing the water bottles from the end of the pool. So feeding, just like sighting, navigation, stroke technique, aerobic conditioning, this is all part of open water swimming, and it needs to be an element in any seriously minded open water swimmer.